Shalom, family. Shalom. I'm back again with another video today. And I know I said we was going to do the talk about why do cage birds sings, but I wasn't able to come back that next day. And Mother has been giving me so much stuff that it's like if I don't do a video when I'm saying I'm going to do it, I probably won't because it'll be something else. You see what I'm saying? And Okay, so excuse me if y'all hear the little ones in the background. My kids, they are running around. I usually like to do these videos real early in the morning when I get up. My husband leaves out at like 6:30 for work, and I'll start probably about 7, and or I at least try to get it started 8, or get it done before they really start doing stuff. But yeah, so after remember I told y'all in the last video, I think I did a video on Thanksgiving, and I told y'all when I woke up that day and I looked up the word praise, for some reason it meant Thanksgiving, okay? And a few days after that, God had revealed to me that 9/24 is Thanksgiving, right? Which we know that. We know, and I'm just like but it all made sense to me yesterday. It all made sense to me. The ninth month is not November. The ninth month is actually December. Okay, if you, at me and my husband, we was reading about the sidereal astrology, and I was telling him I really think that he a Pisces, and I think I'm an Aquarius, because I'm a Pisces and he's an Aries. But I really think I'm an Aquarius and he's a Pisces, and I think that's why with all of the stuff that I be teaching him and stuff, I think that's why it's a little easier for him to accept it more than other men, because he's a Pisces. Water signs are feminine signs already. You know what I mean? So he has that feminine in him. I'm not saying that he, feminine, because my husband is really masculine, but he can be just soft and just, you know what I'm saying? And just selfless and just, all of that type of stuff. And he an Aries, so it's just like when I'm thinking about him as an Aries, it don't make sense. You know what I mean? When I think about him as a Pisces, it makes sense. Which I think he just carried traits of both, because that would make sense. Same with me being a Pisces and Aquarius, it makes sense. Now my husband's moon sign is also a Pisces, so it makes sense. But and it's 9:44. I've been seeing 644 a lot. 446, 944. Yeah, y'all been seeing that as 944 right now. I haven't even looked it up, but I've been seeing it a lot of shit. And I remember, I think a long time ago, one of my subscribers said Emmanuel mean like 446, or they had posted a scripture from Solomon. What was it? I forget, the something of Solomon. I forget where Solomon was. They had told the number of Emmanuel. So listen, Thanksgiving, that's where I was. I'm sorry, I hadn't lost my train of thought because I was talking about the sidereal astrology. Point for bringing that up. Moral of the story is, I think that the sidereal astrology is really a lot closer on the mark, on the money, okay? Not only that, I was trying to understand when the beginning of the year started. Of course, we know it starts with the spring equinox, but do it start that month of the spring equinox or the next month? Well, since we understand that the full moon starts the month, we would have to say that the full moon, and this is just what I feel like I've been getting, the first month would actually be April, the first full moon after the spring equinox. So that the spring equinox is bringing it in, is signifying to us that we coming into the new year, right? And then that next full moon, which will be April, is the first month, not March. And with April being the first month, we got April, May, June, July, August, September as the 6th month, not the 7th month, October, November, December as the 9th month and not the 10th month. Why is this significant? Because I was just sitting here pondering on the scripture. Okay, the scripture. For ye yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Okay, in the night. And I was reading the scripture and I felt like God was telling me, like, you know the day, for you yourselves know perfectly the day. Okay, and I'm like, I don't know the day. I don't know the day. I'm like, I don't know the day. I'm like, if I do know the day, then I don't know that I know the day. That's like, and I'm telling my husband this. Hold on, let me take a sip of this water. I'm like, I thought the day was 9/23. And then it all hit me. For ye yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Okay, let's talk about this. This is 12/21. December is the 9th month. So 12/21, the Great Conjunction, is 9/21. Let's go down the list. Let's go to my channel and look at all of these videos I was doing, which was the right day in the wrong month. You see what I'm saying? So we started this thing off talking about 12/21. Like, we done did a whole circle, y'all. We done did a whole circle. We started this thing off talking about 12/21, right? Okay, I got videos down there. We talked about 12/21, the Great Conjunction, etc. And I'm going to get this book, Prophecy, because we're going to read these first few pages. Now, I've read it before on here, but it was when I first started this channel. So we're going to do it again because I've got a new subscriber since then. And I wanted to make sense to everybody. So this first video, 12/21 equals 6/21. The second coming of Christ, the rapture, redemption. What was the title of this video? Rapture, redemption, then trouble. Okay. Rapture, redemption, then trouble. OMG. We're going to be redeemed, y'all, at Thanksgiving, which is Christmas, which is Hanukkah, which is, it's all on the same day. Which, remember, we was talking about that. We was like, all of these days is on the same day, but we thought it was Rosh Hashanah, September 23rd. But 9th month is December. December is the 9th month. In December, that would make January the 10th month and February the 11th month, which is my birthday month. My birthday is 2/20, and that would make my birthday 11/20, right? And that would make me an Aquarius, the sidereal astrology. And I was going to do a video on sidereal astrology and how first thing I understood about it is when I looked at the word sidereal, I seen side real. So to me, it was saying real side. Okay, real side. This is your real side. Okay, but so I'm understanding that December is the 9th month. Okay, and I understood this a few days after Thanksgiving, but I didn't put it together. Like, it didn't click. OMG, it didn't click. But yesterday, and I was talking to my husband, and I said, I don't know the day. I don't know the day. If I do know the day, I don't know I know the day. But 9/23, and I'm saying this is what I feel like God is telling me is the day. I'm not telling y'all, oh, all of this stuff about to happen on this day. But I think it's a pretty good chance, okay? I think it's a pretty good chance. We talked about Obama, I will win the war on Christmas, Obama and the abomination that make of desolate, which he did that in 625. Remember, we went through all of these dates. Okay, that was a message from my job. I was trying to pick up a shift. I guess I didn't get it. I'm gonna check it out. So then we did 1221 equals 621. See, our original date was 1221. If you've been with me for a long time, then you know our original date was 1221. But then I understood that the difference between the northern and southern hemisphere, and I said, well, maybe it's not Christmas. Our time is Christmas in the southern hemisphere time, which was the 6th month. So that's how we ended up at 621. And y'all can see we did the 621, the coming of Christ, rapture, redemption. Okay, we did that one. No. That must have been part 2. The second coming of Christ, rapture, redemption.
Family, shalom.
Rapture, redemption. Present yourselves a living sacrifice. Okay, present yourself. Y'all really need to go. All of these videos that I'm pointing out with the numbers, y'all really need to go watch it so y'all can have an understanding of all of this. Present yourself a living sacrifice. This is the Thanksgiving offering. Okay, we're gonna talk about all of this. Okay. Present yourselves a living sacrifice. So we did that video. Then we did 621 equals 921, okay? Because I was talking about 921, which we thought was September. Remember, the harvest is ripe. Come to the Lamb's Supper. 621 equals 921. 621 equals 921. International peace and safety. Then sudden destruction. The seventh seal. Okay. 621 equals 921, the feast of new wine and new oil. And then we did 921, coin shortage equals shortening of days, Rosh Hashanah. So we thought it was Rosh Hashanah, but the shortening of days is December. It's when the days are the shortest, okay? It's the winter solstice. Then we did 627 equals 927. Dark apocalypse. Okay, the dark apocalypse. Why did I put dark apocalypse? I don't even know why I put dark. I mean, I know what apocalypse means, but I don't know why I put dark apocalypse. I don't know. I don't know why I did that. That's how you know spirit be using you, because sometimes you go back and you look, I say, why did I do that? So 627 equals 927, dark apocalypse, okay? And I think that was the last video because I think I waited to see what happened and nothing happened. So I said, well, maybe I was wrong, okay? And I left it at that. But the 9th month is December, okay, on God's calendar. So understanding that, then we know that Haggai talked about the 9th month, 24th day, and the great shaking and all of that type of stuff. And it was crazy because after I realized this yesterday, I got on YouTube because I really wanted to do this video yesterday, but I didn't have time because I worked yesterday morning and then I came home, in the afternoon. The kids, they're not sitting down, they, doing all type of stuff. And then last night I wanted to do it. I tried to wait till everybody went to sleep so the house could be quiet, and I ended up falling asleep because I was tired. So now I'm up and I'm trying to do it. But after I realized this yesterday and I got on YouTube, it was all that I seen. It was like confirmation after confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. And I was just like, what is going on? I got to do this video. But 627 equals 927. So the first day, Christmas Eve is 9/24, 12/24, okay? That is the first day of Hanukkah. Okay, Hanukkah is going to last all the way to January 1st. January 1st. I believe 7 days, 24. Yeah, I believe till January. Yeah, so January 1st, December 31st, January 1st. December 31st, January 1st. Like, here I go. What am I saying? I need to pay attention. So, so that's Hanukkah. Okay, so Christmas Eve is Hanukkah, right? Christmas is the first day of Hanukkah, right? Um, yeah, it's like the first day of Hanukkah because you're gonna start it on sundown on the 24th. That's gonna be the first night, and the first day is gonna be the 25th, which everybody gonna be doing Christmas, Hanukkah. So the first day of Hanukkah is not December 10th or 11th. Okay, y'all, it is December the 24th evening. It's also Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving is what? 9/24. What was Thanksgiving on the 24th this month? Let's look at November 24th. You know what, as a matter of fact, I'll just Google it. I was going to look at my calendar. It was November 26th. Was it the 26th? Yeah, it was on November the 26th, which is 9/26, which is the day, OMG, that we got not 9/26 but 9/27. Anyway, it's all in this starting from the 21st, okay? That great conjunction. So I was just shook. I said, OMG, I need to go back and really watch all of these videos, and because and just rewatch it all again. Okay, here I go, rewatch it all again, and I encourage y'all to rewatch it all again with me, okay? Now, I did this video about the broom challenge, Rise of the Divine Feminine, and I was reading a chapter in the Bible where it was talking about the juniper tree. And that's what did the video about, the juniper tree. I said, OMG, it's all happening. Look. I was just like, OMG, this is really happening, okay? This is really happening, okay? Now, 12:21. Where are we going from here? So I think this is the day that God was saying, for you yourselves know perfectly the day of the Lord, so cometh as a thief in the night. I think it's called the night because it's when the shortening of days, when the days are... I don't know, I didn't look this up, but... Okay, but I didn't look that up, so I'm just saying that I think that's why they're calling it night, because it's the shortening of days, when the days is the shortest, okay? Now, this scripture, I was reading Matthew 24, and it say, no person knows the day nor the hour, okay? Hold on, where is it? Where is it? Okay, it say, but as the days of, okay, but of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my mother only. But my mother only. The Holy Spirit only knows the day, okay? And I was like, well, how do I know the day? How can I know the day if it's sitting here saying that no man know the day? You know what I'm saying? I see her asking God, like, is this the day? Like, how would you say that I know the day? But then the scripture say nobody know the day. Y'all should hear me in here debating with myself. It's so crazy. OMG. And God said, you know everything. I said, oh, you know what? First John 2:20. 2:20 is my birthday. Remember I told y'all December is 9/20 is 12/20. And look at this is 12/20. 1220. 12/20. But ye have an unction from the Holy One, from the Holy Spirit, and ye know all things. We know the day. Okay, ye know all things because the Holy Spirit, our mother, told it to us. Okay. 12:20. Okay. 12:20. Why is it 1220? 12:20. Okay. But you have an unction from the Holy One. You know all things. You know all things. Okay. So, this video was not, I did not put this together good, but family, it was just, I had to do it. I had to make this video just so much. Okay. So Thanksgiving, let's start there. Let's get this stuff in order. Okay. I'm going to read Zechariah 50 and how it stood out to me about Thanksgiving. Okay. I'm sorry. Did I say Zechariah? I meant Psalms 50. Now, the word, yeah, let's read Psalms 50 and then we'll talk about Thanksgiving, because I was seeing Thanksgiving all through here in Hanukkah. Okay. Psalms 50. It say, the mighty God, even the Lord, has spoken and called the earth from the rising of the sun unto the going down thereof. Out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God hath shined. Our God shall come and shall not keep silence. Okay, I told y'all, God is a woman and she will not keep silence like these men try to tell women to be silent. A fire shall devour before her, and it shall be very tempestuous round about her. She shall call to the heavens from above and to the earth, that she may judge her people. Okay, this is the Holy Spirit who is judge. She is God. God herself will judge her people. I think it say that in this chapter. But that is the prophecy of Dan, which I told y'all that this woman is going to be from the tribe of Dan, because it say Dan will judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. No, that's Dan shall judge her people. Okay. And I understood that because my name, Danisha, Dan means judge. My name actually literally means female judge or woman judge. So I told you that's the frequency. It's like revealing these things. And I think that we are all called by her name, like all the 144,000. And I think that's why we have all of these like attributes to help us identify. You see what I mean? But it say, we are called by your name, okay, in the scripture. We are called by your name, okay. I was recently talking to somebody about calling God. They was calling God Asha, okay, or I say, or Asha. Y'all ever hear people say that? And I was explaining to her, don't you know that mean wife? You know, Asha is Isha, is Isha. Remember, vowels are interchangeable. The A, the E, and the I. It's all the same word. Asha, Isha, Isha. Okay, and that's my end of my name is Isha, Esha. And I said, we are all called by her name. You know, black girls, it's a lot of us Ishas, okay? Shakisha, Tanisha, Isha, okay? It's a lot of Ishas. I don't think that is for coincidence, okay? I say we are called by her name. Asha, wife, okay? It means wife, woman. So I don't find it blown away that my husband proposed and, you know, all of that, because I think I'm supposed to be a wife. It's in my name, Isha, you know what I mean? So I was explaining to her, I said, do you know that means wife, you know? So, so we are called by her name. It say, she shall call heavens from above and the earth, that she may judge her people. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. By sacrifice. Why am I saying this? Because one of the videos that we did was present yourself a living sacrifice. Okay, and I'm telling y'all got to present yourself a living sacrifice. You cannot come and say that Christ died for my sins, because God did not send her son here to die for your sins. That is a bold-faced lie. And God told us that we should not have sacrificed our children to Molech or send our children through the fire. Why would God do it? We need to think about this. Because scriptures say that no man, the father shall not die for the sins of the children. Okay, we need to understand that they done been lying and duping y'all, duping us. I ain't gonna say y'all because they duped me for a long time. Okay, but I had to open my mind and let God show me the truth. No man can die for your sins. What did it say? These three men. Who was it? Daniel, Jeremiah. I'm not sure the three men, but it say only their own righteousness can save them. They can't save their cousin, sister, uncle, brother, so and so. Okay, their righteousness will only save them. And this is why we need to present ourselves. You are your own sacrifice. Present yourself a living sacrifice. Okay, that is your reasonable service. So it said, gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. What do that mean? Presenting ourselves a living sacrifice. If you come in talking about your sacrifice is Jesus, baby, I don't know how to help you, okay? Please don't do that. Saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. Okay, go sit down. Go sit down. Okay, so present yourselves a living sacrifice. I talked about in that video how Christ did not die for your sins. You can watch the video. Don't believe me, don't take my word for it. Watch the video. Study to show thyself approved, okay? Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice, by presenting themselves as a living sacrifice. And what does that mean? Keeping the commandments and not sinning. And it's 10:10, okay? That's what it means. And the heavens shall declare her righteousness, for God is judge herself. Selah. Hear, O my people, and I will speak, O Israel, and I will testify against thee. I am God, even thy God. I will not reprove thee for thy sacrifices or thy burnt offerings to have been continually before me. I will take no bullock out of thy house, nor he-goats out of thy folds. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell thee, for the world is mine and the fullness thereof. So what is God saying? Stop giving me sacrifices. I did not ask you for those type of sacrifices. God wants you to sacrifice sin. It's the only sacrifice that you need to sacrifice. Okay, stop sinning. And say, will I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? Offer unto God thanksgiving and pay thy vows unto the Most High. Hanukkah is Thanksgiving. We are going to talk about this. And call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. But unto the wicked, God saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing that thou hatest instruction, and casteth my words behind thee? Talking about the daughters, wisdom, the words, the word. When thou sawest a thief, thou contendest with her, and hast been partaker with adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy thy sister. Thou slanderest thine own mother's daughter. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Okay, family, I do apologize for all the pauses. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence, and thou thoughtest that I was altogether such a one as thyself. But I will reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes. Now consider this, ye that forgot God, lest I tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver. And we know she's going to do that using the daughters of Zion, because she say, arise, O daughter of Zion, and tear in pieces, okay? We ain't going to go there. I think it's in Micah 4. So it say, whoso offereth praise glorifieth me, and to him that ordereth his conversation aright will I show the salvation of God. Whosoever offers praise. What did I tell y'all on Thanksgiving? I looked up that word praise. It meant Thanksgiving. So who offereth thanksgiving? Okay, what did it say up here? Offer unto God thanksgiving and pay thy vows unto the Most High. Let's look at Hanukkah. Okay, because Thanksgiving is Hanukkah. It's a form of Hanukkah. So you say Hanukkah may occur anytime from late November to late December. Hanukkah derives from the Hebrew verb meaning to dedicate. On Hanukkah, the Maccabean Jews regained control of Jerusalem and rededicated the temple. So remember I told y'all this is the measuring of the temple when the whole Black Lives Matter thing came out and I decoded Nick Cannon and all of that. We talked about all of this stuff. It's just in so many videos. I'm going to have to really go back and rewatch all the videos to be able to point y'all to which one say what, because I make so many, I forget what they say. So the name can be broken down into they rested on the 25th, referring to the fact that the Jews ceased fighting on the 25th day of Kislev, the day on which the holiday begins. Hanukkah is also the Hebrew acronym for 8 candles, and the Halakha is the house of Hillel. This is a reference to the disagreement between the rabbinical schools of thought and the house of Hillel, the house of Shammai. So they got differences on how to light the candles all at once, one at a time, so we ain't going to get into all of that. Now, it was some stuff that I wanted to point out to y'all. Where is it? So saying this, the sons of Israel went up to the temple and rebuilt its gates and purified the temple from the dead bodies and from the defilement. And they sought after pure olive oil to light the lamps therewith, but could not find any except one bowl that was sealed with the signet of the ring of the high priest from the days of Samuel the prophet, and they knew that it was pure. There was in it enough oil to light the lamps there were for one day, but the God of heaven, whose name dwells there, put therein her blessing, and they were able to light from it 8 days. Therefore the sons of Hashmoneh made this covenant and took upon themselves a solemn vow, they and the sons of Israel, all of them, to publish amongst the sons of Israel, to the end that they might observe these 8 days of joy and honor, as the days of the feast written in the book of the law, even to light in them, so as to make known to those who come after them that their God wrought for them the salvation from heaven. In them it is not permitted to mourn, neither to decree a fast on those days, and anyone who has a vow to perform, let him perform it. So anyone who has a vow to perform, let him perform it. Okay? So Thanksgiving is Hanukkah. Saying the days of Mattiyahu ben Yohanan, high priest, the Hasmonean and his sons, when the evil Greek kingdom stood up against your people Israel to cause them to forget your Torah and abandon the ways you desire. You and your great mercy stood up for them in their time of trouble. You fought their fight. You judged their judgment. You took their vengeance. You delivered the mighty into the hands of the weak, the many into the hands of the few, the impure into the hands of the impure into the hands of the pure, the evil into the hands of the righteous, the sinners into the hands of those who engaged in your Torah. You made yourself a great and holy name in your world, and for your people Israel, you made great redemption and salvation at this very day. And then your sons came to the inner chamber of your house and cleared your temple and purified your sanctuary and lit candles in your holy courtyards and established 8 days of Hanukkah for thanksgiving and praise to your holy name. Okay. Let's read this one. Now, Judah celebrated the festival of restoration. Okay, family, I'm going to say a little bit more, and then I'm going to have to make a part 2 because it's too much going on right now. And y'all see how many times I've had to stop. And before I frustrate myself, frustrate my kids, I'm just going to stop and do something else. So I'm going to wrap this up. So it say in the New Testament, John 10:22 said, 10:22-23 says, then it came, and that's 10:22-23, that's December 22nd, 23rd. Then came the festival of dedication at Jerusalem. It was winter. Now, we went over this scripture, and I said it couldn't have been winter because winter didn't start till after the solstice. So it meant another thing, for another word for winter was rainy season. We said it was the rainy season. But now that we understand that it was actually after the solstice, it was winter. And this is why I say it was winter. And Jesus was in the temple courts walking in Solomon's colonnade. The Greek noun used appears in the neuter plural as the renewals or the consecration. The same root appears in 2nd Ezra 6:16 in the Septuagint to refer specifically to Hanukkah. This Greek word was chosen because the Hebrew word for consecration or dedication is Hanukkah. The Aramaic New Testament uses the Aramaic word kaldada, a close synonym which literally means renewal or to make new. To make new. So we talked about in the last video the new heaven and the new earth. Okay. Are we about to see the new heaven and the new earth? Okay. Let's see if I had anything else to point out. So it's Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. It was a lot that I wanted to talk about. So the word Thanksgiving comes from a word that means hand. As you know, wisdom is the hand, daughter Zion is the hand. We talked about the 144,000, the hand in the last video. And this is why, when we draw turkeys in school, they make us use our hand. We trace our hand and we draw the turkey from our hand. So I found out that the word comes from hand. Okay. Now, during Thanksgiving, the first Thanksgiving when the pilgrims came, it was disease going on and death. Okay. They said that the pilgrims had slaughtered some of the Indians. Okay. And they brought disease. So right now we're going through, I was telling my husband, it seemed like a repeated history. OMG. I'm so tired of having to stop the video. Did y'all see that call? It said Santa Ana. Okay. Santa Ana. Saint Anna. Santa Ana. So I didn't forget what I was saying. OMG, that call just distracted me. Oh, I was saying that it seemed like a repeating history with us having the coronavirus and the diseases, and we don't know what's about to happen, okay? A lot of people dying from the coronavirus. That's what happened when the pilgrims first came over. A lot of Indians was dying from the coronavirus because they had brought diseases or whatever. I said a lot of Indians was dying from coronavirus. That is not what I meant to say. Ooh. Hey, came out for some reason. I told y'all, what did I tell y'all? Coronavirus targeting Indians? All right, nah. So look, I'm not laughing because this is funny. I'm laughing because the spirit will just come out and say stuff. You just opening your mouth. You wasn't even trying to say that. That's why I'm laughing. But okay. So I was just saying it seemed like a repeated history. I keep losing my train of thought because I done stopped this video so many times. So please forgive me, family. Forgive me. Okay, so he's talking about the hand, and they called the turkey the Indian chicken. Okay, now I posted, y'all ever seen that show Chicken Run, that movie Chicken Run? I posted about that. I didn't know why I was posting it, but someone told me to post it in my group a while back. I posted the trailer from the Chicken Run movie. They was trying to fly, and the majority of the chickens was women, okay? I think it was one old grandpa man that was with him, and the man who came, the one male chicken who flew in, who they was trying to get to teach them to fly or whatever, but it was called Chicken Run. They was killing the chickens. Okay, the word chicken go back to chick, which means woman. Okay, so that led me to that chicken, hand, chick. Okay, so Christmas and Hanukkah is Thanksgiving. Okay. and it happens on the same day as Christmas. We got we talked about the shortening of the days of the year. So the Matthew 22 say the less the days shall be short and shall no flesh be saved. That's why I had that up. Ye have an unction, you know all things. Okay. We talked about that. Okay. So now what I want to do is I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to come back with a part 2 if I think about anything I missed, which I know is going to be a bunch of stuff because of all the stops in the video. So I'll possibly be making a part 2, but I'm going to end this video with reading a few pages, and I just got to grab it out the bathroom because I was reading it to my husband in here last night. I'm going to read just the first few pages out of this book. Now, I told you guys that the December 21st was the end, okay? It is the end. And so it is the end. And in order for all of this stuff to end, it has to be tore down and rebuilt. Okay, so there's a time to tear down. There's a time to build. So chapter 1, OMG. Guess what this say? September 21st, year of our Lord, 1583. September 21st. That's 9/21, which we just said is what, y'all? 12/21. OMG. I never seen that before. I promise. I just read this to my husband last night, and I did not read that at the heading. Okay, September 21st, year of our Lord, 1583. Now, start right off talking about a wedding feast. So I'm going to just read y'all about the first 5 pages. Then I'm going to wrap this up. So it said the wedding feast of Sir Philip Sidney and Frances Washington Theers to spill over into the next day. Dusk has fallen, lamps has been lit, and above the din from the musicians and the gallery and the laughter of the guests, the young woman with whom I have been dancing tells me excitedly that she was once at a marriage party that lasted 4 days altogether. She leans in close when she says this and presses her hand to my shoulder. Her breath is laced with sweet wine. The musicians strike up another galliard. My dancing partner explains with delight and clutches eagerly at my hand, laughing. I'm about to protest that the hall is warm, that I would like a cup of wine and a moment's respite in the fresh air before I return to the fray. But I have barely opened my mouth when the wind is knocked out of me by a fist between the shoulder blades, accompanied by a hearty cry. Giordano Bruno. Now, what is this I see? The great philosopher throwing off his scholar's gown and lifting a leg with the flower of Her Majesty's court. Did you learn to dance like that at the monastery? Your hidden talents never cease to astonish me. So I'm going to skip all of this stuff. But I just wanted to point out that they was at a wedding, okay? Okay. Trying to see where I should start. Sorry, y'all. I should have had the page together. You know what? Maybe I skipped it. This is chapter 1. Maybe it was in the prologue. Okay, sorry, y'all. Let me go back a few pages. Okay, yeah, so I skipped it. Okay, hold on. That was chapter 1, but we got to read the prologue. Okay, this is the prologue, and I looked up at the phone. It's 1044. Without warning, all the candles in the room's corners flicker. All the candles in the room's corners flicker and faint as if sudden gust has entered, but the air remains still. At the same moment, the hairs on my arms prickle and stand erect, and I shudder. A cold breath descends on us. Though outside the day is close, A sideways glance at Dr. D. He stands unmoving as marble, his hands clasped as if in prayer, the knuckles of both thumbs pressed anxiously to his lips, or what can be seen of them through his ash-gray beard, which he wears in a point down to his chest, in imitation of Merlin, whose heir D secretly considers himself. The cunning man, Ned Kelly, kneels on the floor in front of the table of practice with his back to us, eyes fixed on the pale, translucent crystal about the size of a goose egg, mounted in fixings of brass and standing upon a square of red silk. The wooden shutters of the study windows have been closed. This business must be conducted in shadow and candlelight. Kelly draws breath like a player about to deliver his prologue and stretches his arms out wide at shoulder height in a posture of crucifixion. Yes, he breathes finally, his voice little more than a whisper. He is here. He beckons to me. Who? D leans forward eagerly, his eyes bright. Who is he? Kelly waits a moment before answering, his brow creasing as he concentrates his gaze on the stone. A man of more than mortal height, with skin as dark as polished mahogany. He is dressed head to foot in a white garment, which is torn, and his eyes are of red fire. In his right hand, he holds aloft a sword. D snaps his head around then and clutches my arm, staring at me. The shock of his face must be mirrored in my own. He has recognized the description as I have. The being Kelly sees in the stone matches the first figure of the sign of Aries, as described by the ancient philosopher Hermes Trismegistus. There are 36 of these figures, the Egyptian gods of time who rule the divisions of the zodiacs and are called by some star demons. There are few scholars in Christendom who could thus identify the figure Kelly sees, and two of them are here in the study of Mortlake. If indeed this is what Kelly sees, I say nothing. What says he? D urges. He holds out a book, Kelly answers. What manner of book? An ancient book with worn covers and pages all of beaten gold. Kelly leans closer to the stone. Wait, he is writing upon it with his forefinger, and the letters are traced in blood. I want to ask, what has he done with the sword while he writes in this book? Has he tucked it under his arm, perhaps? But D would not thank me for holding this business lightly. Beside me, he draws in his breath, impatient to hear what the spirit is writing. XV, Kelly reports. After a moment, he turns to look up at us, then over his right shoulder, his expression perplexed, perhaps expecting D to interpret the numerals. 15, Bruno, D whispers, looking again to me for confirmation. I nod once. The lost 15th book of Hermes Trismegistus. The book I had come to England to find. The book I now know D had once held in his hand. You know what? Have you ever heard of the Third Testament? I'm subscribed to Coaching the Flight. He always be reading from the Third Testament. I haven't been watching his videos lately, but last night he did do a video about the great earthquake he said was going to happen on Christmas. Now, I didn't watch the video because there was so many of them. Like I said, when I got on YouTube, I seen so many confirmations, but I didn't want to watch them because I didn't want to take from, you know what I'm saying, when I was making my own video. I don't like to do that because then I don't like to get ideas from other people. I just like my inspiration to be purely inspiration in spirit, from the spirit. Okay, so but they talking about this book. The reason why I say that, because he said the book is called Hermes or something that he read from. I don't know, I'm gonna have to go back and look and see exactly what the name of the book is, but it's called the Third Testament, but it's called Hermes something or something. Okay, the book I had come to England to find, the book I now knew D had once held in his hands years earlier, only to be robbed of it violently and lose it again. Could it be? It occurs to me that Kelly must know of his master's obsession with the 15th book. The scribe raises his hand for silence. His eyes do not move from the crystal. He turns the page. Now he traces. It seems, yes, he makes a sign. Quickly fetch me paper and ink. D hurries to bring the items. Kelly reaches out and flaps his hand impatiently as if afraid the image will fade before he has time to transcribe it. He takes the quill and, still gazing intently into the stone, sketches the astrological symbol of the planet Jupiter and holds it up for our inspection. I tense. D feels it where his hand still holds my arm and half turns to look at me with questioning eyebrows. I keep my face empty of expression. The sign of Jupiter is my code, my signature. It replaces my name as the sign that my letters of intelligence are authentic. Only two people in the world know this, myself and Sir Francis Walsingham, Her Majesty's Principal Secretary of State and Chief Intelligence. It is a common enough sign in astrology, and coincidence surely, that Kelly has drawn it. Still, I regard the back of Kelly's head with increased suspicion. On the facing page, Kelly continues. He traces another mark, this time the sign of Saturn. This he also draws on his paper, a cross with a curving tail, the quill scratching slowly as if time has thickened while he watches this unfold in the depths of the stone. Dee's breathing quickens as he takes the paper and taps it with two fingers. Jupiter and Saturn, the great conjunction. You understand? I think, Bruno, without waiting for a reply. He turns impatiently to Kelly. Ned, what does he now? The spirit. He opens his mouth and motions for me to listen. Kelly falls silent and does not move. Moments pass, Dee leaning forward eagerly, poised as if held taut on a rope, balanced between wanting to pounce on his squire and not wishing to crowd him. When Kelly speaks again, his voice is altered, darker, somehow, and he proclaims as if in a trance. All things have grown almost to their fullness. Okay, and when I read that, I heard to the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. Time itself shall be altered, and strange shall be the wonders perceived. Water shall perish in fire, and a new order shall spring from these. Here he pauses, gives a great shuddering sigh. Dee grips around my arms. Dee grip around my arm tightens. I know that he is thinking. Kelly continues in the same portentous voice. Hell itself grows weary of earth. At this time shall rise up one who will be called the son of perdition, the master of error, the prince of darkness, and he will delude many by his magic arts, so that the fire will seem to come down from heaven and the sky shall be turned the color of blood. Empires, kingdoms, principalities, and states shall be overturned. Fathers will turn against sons, and brothers against brothers. There shall be turbulence among the peoples of earth, and the streets of the cities will run with blood. By this you shall know the last days of the old order. He stops, sink back, gasping onto his heels, his chest heaving as if he has run a mile in the heat. Beside me, I can feel Dee trembling, his hand still holding my wrist. I feel him hungry for more of the Spirit's words. Silently urging the squire not to stop there, unwilling to speak aloud for the fear of breaking the spell. For myself, I reserve judgment. Yet God has provided medicine for man's suffering, Kelly cries in the same voice, sitting up suddenly and making us both jump. There shall also arise a prince who will rule by the light of season and understanding, who shall strike down the darkness of old times, and in him the alteration of the world shall begin. And so shall he establish one faith, one ancient religion of unity that will put an end to strife. Now, it's not a prince, it's a princess. We know that. But of course, that's why they got this book as fiction, because they can't tell you everything. Dee claps his hand gleefully, turning to me with shining eyes and the excitement of a child. It is hard to believe that this is his 56th autumn. The prophecy, Bruno. What can this be if not the prophecy of the great conjunction, of the ending of the old world? So the great conjunction is the ending of the old world. You read this as plain as I do, my friend. Through the good offices of Master Kelly here, the gods of time have chosen to speak to us of the coming of the fiery trigon, when the old order shall be overturned and the world made anew in the image of the ancient truth. He has certainly spoken of weighty matters, I say, evenly. Kelly turns in. We know what that ancient truth is. It's that God is a woman. He has certainly spoken of weighty matters. I say, evenly. Kelly turns in, his brow damp with sweat, and regards with me those close-set eyes. Dr. D, what is this fiery trigon? He asked, in his somewhat nasal voice. You could not know the significance, Ned, of what your gifts have revealed to us this day, Dee replies, his manner now fatherly. But you have translated a prophecy most wondrous, most wondrous. He shakes his head slowly in admiration, then stirs himself and begins to pace about the study as he explains, resuming his authority, the teacher, once more. While the seance occurs, he becomes dependent upon Kelly, but it is not his habit to be subservient. He is, after all, the queen's personal astrologer. Once every 20 years, he says, holding up a forefinger like a schoolmaster, the two most powerful planets in our cosmology, Jupiter and Saturn, align with each other, each time moving through the 12 signs of the zodiac. Every 200 years, give or take, this conjunction moves into a new trigon. That is to say, the group of three signs that correspond to each other of four elements. And once every 960 years, the alignment completes its cycle through the four trigons, returning again to its beginning in fire. For the past 200 years, the planets have aligned within the signs of the watery trigon. But now, my dear Ned, this very, very year, the year of our Lord, 1583. But now, my dear Ned, this very year, the year of our Lord, 1583, Jupiter and Saturn will conjoin once more in the sign of Aries, the first sign of the fiery trigon, the most potent conjunction of all, had one that has not been seen for for 1,000 years. Now, God moves counterclockwise, I've come to understand. So we're going from the water to air, not to fire. So this is what we need to understand. They're giving us hints, but they're not telling the whole truth. He pauses for effect. Kelly's mouth hangs open like a codfish. Then it is momentous times in the heaven. More than momentums, I say, taking up the story. The coming of the fiery trigon signifies the dawn of a new epoch. This is only the seventh such conjunction since the creation of the new world, and each has been marked by events that has shaken history. The flood of Noah, the birth of Christ, the coming of Charlemagne, all coincide with the return of the fiery trigon. And this transition into the sign of Aries at the end of our troubled century has been prophesied by many as signifying the end of history. D agrees thoughtful. He has arrived in front of his tall perspective glass in this ornate gilt frame that stands in the corner by the sweat-facing windows. Its peculiar property is that it reflects a true image and not the usual reverse image of an ordinary glass. The effect is unsettling. Now he turns to face us and raises his right hand, and the glass, his reflection, does the same. The astronomer Richard Harvey wrote of this present conjunction, either a marvelous, fearful, and horrible alteration of empires, kingdoms, and states, or else the destruction of the whole world shall ensue. So he said, either a marvelous, fearful, and horrible alteration of empires, kingdoms, and states, or else the destruction of the whole world shall ensue, I add. So he did, Bruno, so he did. We may expect signs and wonders, my friends, in the days to come. Our world will change beyond recognition. We shall bear witness to a new era. D is trembling, his eyes moist. Then the spirit in the stone, he came to remind us of this prophecy, Kelly asks, his face full of wonder, and to point to its special significance for England. D asks, his voice heavy with meaning, for what can it signify but the overthrowing of the old religion once and for all in favor of the new, with Her Majesty as the light of reason and understanding. So I'm going to end it there. But with Her Majesty as the light and understanding, okay, we know daughter Zion is the light. We talked about this in the last video, the 144,000 daughters being the light, the city set on the hill, the woman holding a candle, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because my son is at the door. He about to start beating on my door. Oh, Lord. I love my kids, but I'm telling you, it's a job. No days off. Somebody said, I was watching a video and she said, mommy first, bad B later. I was cracking up. So let me mommy first. Shalom, guys. I love you so much. Until we meet again.